Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
I let her know how many bridesmaids, because I do understand it's a big party.
It is a big party.
I'm the oldest of 11, so my mom's like, you have to use all your siblings. And then I have my own
This
friends.
was your wedding?
This was my vow renewal. So
Vow renewal?
Yeah.
You had 13 bridesmaids for a vow renewal?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
This is the plaintiff, Kaylin Williams. She says she was hired by the defendant to provide makeup services for her marriage renewal ceremony. And less than 2 weeks before the big day, she emailed and canceled the job. Turns out her godsister was gifting her makeup services. She has a contract with this woman and is suing for the $785 she's owed. This is the defendant, Senika. She says she was very specific about the kind of makeup she wanted for herself and her bridesmaids, and the plaintiff seemed to be in over her head. The plaintiff wanted her to go out and buy foundation because she didn't have all the shades, and she knew then and there things were not going to work out. Owe her $785 for a job she didn't do? No way. She's accused of canceling at the last minute.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, Kaylin Williams, you are suing Ms. Senika for $785 that you feel should be paid to you because she breached a contract. Tell me what's going on.
So I was booked to do a bridal party, so I was just doing the bridesmaids.
How many bridesmaids?
13.
13?
Yes, and the wedding was on Friday.
Okay.
At 5 p.m. So
okay.
Let's keep that in mind. I had a makeup artist as an assistant originally, but she ended up having to cancel on me. So I let her know that I had to get another makeup artist.
Why are you telling her that? Why don't you just get another makeup artist?
Well, I just wanted to, the communication. I was just trying to communicate that.
Well, what was it exactly you communicated?
That my makeup artist canceled, so I was going to do it myself, just
right.
The whole entire...
And so you were saying that you had to start earlier.
Yes.
At what time would they have had to start putting makeup on?
For 13 girls, 6 a.m.
You said 5 or 6 a.m.
Yes.
In your text.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of a change in the contract because she, nobody wants to get up at 4 and then have makeup on for 12 hours and whatever else.
Yes.
So what does she say to you when you say that?
She said that was too early, and then I understood. So the next day, I ended up getting another makeup artist. I booked her, sent her a deposit, and
how much of a deposit did you send the other?
It was just $100.
Okay.
So then after that, I let her know that I did find another makeup artist. But before that, I did tell her that the makeup look that she wanted 2 green looks.
She wanted 3 different looks, right?
Yeah, she wanted
for eyes.
Yes. So she wanted 2 green looks that had glitter on them. And I was trying to tell her, like, that may take a little longer even with my help, because 45 minutes is what I told her I could do for the girls, like, to get them in and out, to have them on time for
It's just that there's 13.
Yes,
so
there's 13.
That requires multiple makeup artists.
Exactly.
Like more than 2.
Exactly.
Right, so it may not, maybe you underquoted it or something.
Yeah, I did definitely over.
Yeah. Are you new at this?
Yes.
How long have you been doing it?
A year.
Yeah.
So, fast forward, she ends up canceling.
Wait, but first you tell her that 3 looks is too much. How about this look?
Yes,
and you
I'm
show
sorry,
her
yes.
a look that's gold but has a little bit of, do you have
She sent the 3 looks.
Hold on one
the
second.
Gold.
So is this what you're calling the gold look?
No, that's the look that I suggested to her, just as suggested, just for the time's sake.
Okay.
And so,
did she like that or no?
Yes, she did like that.
Okay, all right, is this the gold look?
Yes.
All right. So what is decided between you two, that there'll be just the one eyes?
It will be the gold look and the look that I suggested, which was the
green look that I
Yeah.
had up before?
Yes.
Okay, then what happens?
So we're good after that. We also discussed about time slots. I sent her emails of the time slots for the girls to come and get their makeup done. And she says that her cousin is going to give her free services for her bridesmaids and she'll need to cancel the contract with me. But then I was like, okay, well, my policy on my contract, which you signed, said that if you cancel within the 30-day period before the event, you have to pay me the full amount that's due. And so then that's when
And the reason for that would be what? Because you don't have time to plan another gig.
I could have been doing other things.
Did you end up planning another gig for that day?
I did not.
Okay, so you tell her, okay, I wish you luck, but you have to pay me the whole contract.
Yes.
And what does she say?
And then I called off work that day too. She says that she doesn't feel that that's fair because I didn't provide her with enough details for certain things and she wasn't happy with the look that
let me hear from you, Ms. Sanika. Go ahead.
So I received a call from her aunt. She was one of my maid of honors, and so she asked me to give her niece a shot. I'm also a wedding coordinator, so she said if she does good for you, then you can go ahead and use her for your events. She said I feel like you guys work good together, and she does a good job. I had just did her aunt's wedding the year before, so I did see her outcome. I did like what she did, so I let her know that I would review the contract and I would speak with her niece in regards to hiring her for the services. So I reviewed her contract. I sent a text over to the plaintiff, letting her know that I reviewed the contract. However, I have some questions in regards to the contract.
Do you have the original contract?
Yes.
Can I have it? Go on.
So before we went into the contract terms, I let her know how many bridesmaids, because I do understand it's a big party.
It is a big party.
I'm the oldest of 11, so my mom's like, you have to use all your siblings. And then I have my own
This
friends.
was your wedding?
This was my vow renewal. So
Vow renewal? You had 13 bridesmaids for a vow renewal?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
So our
is
first
this one of your
wedding-
bridesmaids?
Yes.
And is she your sister also or no?
No.
Okay, go on.
My first wedding was a disaster, so we just kind of treated it like the original wedding. And so I informed her, I understand 13 is a lot.
What made it a disaster?
Just people gotten sick. It was just so many things that went wrong that day to where it was just, the video was horrible.
Okay.
So I told her I do understand 13 is a lot. Is that something that you can handle? She said she could. And one of the things I asked was I needed to have a bridal trial. Plus it was in the contract. And she'd agreed that she was going to give me the trials that I requested. We settled on the green look. We settled on the gold look and the lips. And several times I asked the plaintiff to provide me with the trial looks.
What's a trial look?
So basically on her own hand, because I did have makeup artists that were in my bridal party.
Yeah, you had a bunch of makeup artists in your bridal party.
Who are particular. And so I said, these are all Pinterest pictures. The pictures that showed up on the screen were Pinterest pictures. And I do understand that sometimes when you get pictures off the internet, they're not exact. So I told her I needed to see everything and approve everything prior to.
Right, how would you see it? Tell me mechanically how you thought that would be.
I told her that she can do it a number of ways. She can do it on her silicone, she could do it on herself. It didn't really matter how I received it. I just needed to see the look, and she agreed.
And didn't she do that?
No, she only provided one look.
Which one?
She provided the green look.
The green look?
That's correct.
All right, but not the gold look?
Not the gold look and not the lips.
Okay, because the gold look came off the internet.
That was the internet, that was correct.
All right, did you ever tell her, I need to see your trial?
I did.
And what did she say?
She told me via text that she was working on it. She told me via verbally over the phone that she was working on it. We got to the 6th and I still hadn't received it.
Okay, and did you tell her, I have a problem with this, it's making me nervous?
Well, by then it was a lot of other things that occurred. And
so, such as what?
So when her assistant backed out,
that happened in July, though, right?
That happened in July. So on the 21st, I received that. So when we signed the contract on the 7th, from the 7th to the 21st.
The 7th of what?
The 7th of July to the 21st of July, I had no communication with the plaintiff. And so by the 21st, that's when I received a text message stating that her assistant had backed out and that she needed to start at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I told her, well, 6 o'clock in the morning is
Why
early.
didn't you just say no then and not continue with her and say, this is a big change in the contract and I won't do it, so give me my deposit back?
Because her aunt had urged me to work with her, and we were already within the 30-day
So
call.
she tells you about the cancellation, you tell her, no, that's not going to work, and then what happens?
So first I let her know that I did pay the $100 deposit, so the amount of the contract was not $785, the amount was $685. And then I also let her know that there were specific things that I requested from you that I did not receive that were
Oh, this
stated
is
in the
when you
contract.
cancel,
Yes,
right?
that were stated in the contract.
And the things you did not receive are what?
So the things I did not receive was the complete look. And then when the assistant canceled, I was informed that the assistant got a better gig in Hawaii and that it was more than my event. And so I was concerned about the second assistant, because what if she gets a higher paying gig?
Well, that's always the way, though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and
that could
I'm
happen
not
to
sure,
anybody.
you know, and mainly was the trial, because I'm like, the day of, I'm very particular, and that was a big deal for me. That was something that I explained in the beginning. After that, it was just so many things, like the time frame. On the contract, I asked her to have everything done by 4:45. She said that she could, and then I received a text that says that our last client has to be between 5 and 5:45. And I said, well, my wedding is at 6 o'clock. If a girl is getting out of the makeup chair at 5:45 and the hotel is 14 minutes away, we're not going to be able to start on time.
Because she's also not going to get out of the chair at 5:45.
Exactly.
That's the plan, and the plan will never happen.
And I also informed her when she did the time slots, give herself enough time for breaks, if she needs to clean her makeup brushes, any of those things. So that...
Okay, but everybody in your wedding party who's a makeup artist knows that 13 people for 2 makeup artists is not enough time.
And so what I did was, when I started noticing that the time was becoming an issue, I asked one of my makeup artist bridesmaids to do her own makeup. And then I asked 2 of them to just do foundation. And I told her, so now you're down 1 girl, and then you have 2 ladies where all you have to do is apply eyes and lips to help with the time frame. And
Okay.
she agreed. I did not ask for a reduction in the price. At this point, I just wanted the job done, and I wanted to do.
So what changed your mind, though? Because I see a text from you saying gold is the key, and then I see...
That wasn't for me.
Oh, who was that?
I just asked her because by that time, I still hadn't received a trial look. So I said, well, hey, are you still doing the gold look? Trying to nudge her to like provide me with the trial. And then that's what her aunt said, well, the gold look is everything. She said yes. I still hadn't received anything. So at this point,
Does the contract say anything about when you get the trial look?
No, she specified in text that she was going to give everything to me by the 29th of July. And I only received that one eye look. So I'm at the 6th, a week before my wedding.
So here she is. It's how long before your wedding?
It's about a week, maybe 2 weeks before.
Right, and she's nervous, and it's a cumulative bunch of stuff.
Yes.
So do you think you're entitled to the entire contract price?
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
This episode is brought to you by Jira. Ever wonder how those big marketing campaigns that make headlines get delivered on time? It all starts with Jira, the only project management tool you need to plan and track work across any team. Every step of that campaign is organised in one place, from launching the campaign all the way back to designing ads and writing creative briefs. Get started on your next big marketing campaign idea today in Jira.
It's 2 weeks before the wedding. She's already paid out of her pocket to get the other makeup artist reserved, and she's put time in. Do you believe that you shouldn't have to pay anything at all for her troubles? Because I don't blame you for, listen, it's your special day. Well, it's your second special day. And I don't blame you for saying, hey, I want what I want, and I don't want to be anxious, especially since you have so many makeup artists there. And then you have somebody saying they're going to gift it to you. That's even better. I don't blame you. But the question is, when you make those decisions, do you have no legal obligation to her whatsoever, or does it cost you to make the decision you want to make because you're worried about how it's going to go and you make a decision to scrap it, you're perfectly entitled to, but who eats it? That's the question.
Well, at this point, I had made so many accommodations for her. I reduced the number of bridesmaids. I did so many things to accommodate her.
I know. You know what the bad part is about that? What's odd about that is that, or legally significant that I want you to think about is every time that you change the contract and accept what she's chipping away at, every time that you say, okay, we're going to do, all right, fine, we'll do that, it's like a new contract between you guys. So ironically, you're almost better off saying no, that you're breaching the contract. But in any event, I'm still, as a judge, I'm going to sit here and think about all that. Don't think I won't.
And I never declined the trial. That was always something that I wanted from day one.
So you told me what you think is fair. What do you think is fair?
I told her for the last initial compensation that I felt like was fair for me, for my time, the gas, and just the emotions that I put towards this was at least $400 because at the end of the day, I'm a makeup artist and I'm a beginner makeup artist. If you're a beginner makeup artist, you're not about to just have all this foundation on deck at one time. It's not very smart to just buy.
No, and that's fine, but why isn't she correct that you could return it?
I can return it, but then I'm going to have to
So you're really not out
it.
all that stuff. It's good for you to have it in your kit. So you're not really, that's not really a damage of yours that she should compensate. So now it's just really the time and the effort. So why is 400 correct and not 200 correct? I guess that's what
I feel like at the end of the day, you did sign a contract with me and I did
Did you ever think about who is the person with you?
This is just the mutual.
Okay, and the person with you is one of your bridesmaids, but everybody's just moral
She's
support,
a makeup artist. She could attest to what's standard. She also gifted me the service on the 27th, and I declined because I really wanted her to do the job.
So when did you call her and say, okay, I'm taking,
She wasn't the one that did it.
She isn't the one that did it.
No, I declined her service. Yes.
Guy, what'd you want to say?
So I was one of the maid of honors.
Tell me how the wedding day went. Who did the makeup for her that day?
The wedding day went well. The makeup was done by an artist, Sean. That particular artist did not have an assistant, so makeup did run longer as we pretty
How late
much
was she to her? It's actually renewal. How late was she to that?
About an hour.
Okay, and then did you have to kick in too and do other people's makeup?
No. Actually,
did you do your own?
I did. The makeup artist did my makeup very early in the day.
What time?
8 o'clock in the morning, and then I had my husband as well as my baby was in the wedding, so I had to go home and prepare them to get dressed. So
how do you prepare your husband to get dressed?
You got to get him dressed.
I haven't gotten him dressed. I've never. Sounds like fun, but I've never done it. I mean.
And then my daughter had an asthma attack that morning, and my godsister was there assisting me because she was like her chest was caving in, so we weren't even sure if the day was gonna. She was one.
So I even offered to take the 6 a.m. slot. Even though it would have been a long time because I was like, I could touch my own makeup up. Okay. So there were several accommodations that were made.
Yeah, I know.
When she said that when she asked me, finally, she was like, it's the 6th. She still hasn't given me the look. What should I do? I was like, I don't know. You have to make up that decision for yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Should she be compensated?
So now what I'd like to talk about, Ms. Williams, is did it ever go through your mind, gee, she's a wedding planner? Because I'm kind of impressed that you're 22 and you filed a lawsuit. Good for you. You're not a shrinking violet. You're asserting what you feel are your rights. Did your aunt or anybody say to you, maybe this isn't the person you want to sue because she's a wedding planner and she could give you business. Maybe you just call this one a wash and that's that.
Well, I knew that once this whole dispute. Once we both couldn't come to a mutual agreement, I knew that there was no way.
No, I meant before all the back and forth.
Yes.
Once she cancels, the first thing out of your mouth pretty quickly is, you owe me the entire contract. And what I'm saying is, before doing that, did it occur to you that maybe...
Yes, my aunt, she actually was like, okay, she does weddings. She could probably refer you to her brides, So I'm like, okay, yes. And that's really the reason why I took on this job, because I've been wanting more work.
So that's when you started to negotiate lower than what you had thought you deserved.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have another question. Why are you suing for $785 if you already had $100? Why aren't you suing for $685?
The $100 was just to secure me for that day. In the contract.
So people are actually paying $885?
Yes, people are paying $100.
Wait, stop. Where does that, because a deposit goes towards, that's a definition of a deposit. It's to secure you for that day, but it goes towards the contract. Where in your contract does it say?
At the bottom where she signed, it says the amount due that she will pay me is $785 the day of.
That was prior to me submitting the deposit.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no.
Okay.
No. I need you to learn that right now.
Okay.
For the future. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I am. You already have 100. I believe that a fair way to do this is 300, but you already have 100. I'm going to order the defendant not to pay $785. I'm going to order the defendant to pay $200. And I want to be clear on explaining why. When somebody breaches, in your opinion, a contract, your remedy is to say, time out, we're done. And what had happened is that in each step along the way, you were telling her, all right, it's still fine. It's still fine. It's still fine. And it isn't until much later, very close to your wedding, when she can't do anything about it. She can't get another job, and she had already taken the day off of her real job or day job or whatever it is. It's not, it's really close to the gun. And to tell me, well, it's because of what happened 2 weeks ago, it isn't, because you stayed in it after that. Well, it's because of what happened a week and a half ago. Well, it isn't, because you stayed in it after that. So your arguments for bailing become less, not more, as you keep accommodating things. But I do feel like she's not entitled to the entire amount because, there were a bunch of stuff happening. So I feel what's fair is $300, which is an additional $200 verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Let's see what the defendant, Sanika, thinks about this. How do you feel?
I feel good about it. I felt like the entire amount wasn't fair, and I do understand what the judge was saying, so I do understand, and I'm okay with the verdict.
How was the final result of everything? How did it all work out?
Oh, it went beautifully. We had a really great time, and everyone's makeup was very good looking.
All right, that's the important thing. Very good. All right, you owe her $200, so good for you. All right, you'll have to give that to her. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, here's the plaintiff. The judge says you only get $200, Ms. Williams. Are you okay with that now?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Things happen, It's not what I wanted, but it's okay. I could take that.
I mean, you're kind of new at this game. Do you think you've learned something from it?
I definitely learned a lot from this, a lot, and I would definitely consider that with my next jobs.
Maybe it's been worthwhile filing this lawsuit for what you learned out of the court case.
Yes.
Anyway, okay?
You. All right, bye.
All right, you get 200, and that'll do it, and that'll wrap it up for this case. All right, Harvey.
Doug, it's really kind of funny. We always say, you can't breach a contract. You're not allowed to breach a contract in the law. That's not exactly true. You can breach a contract if you want to just say, look, I know I signed it, but I'm just not going to perform under it. That's your right. There are consequences to that. So if you're willing to pay all of the damages, you can breach a contract.
My daughter sold her house and moved in with her husband after they got married. She lived in the house for 9 years paying the mortgage but never put her name on the deed. Her husband died recently and we were told she doesn't have a claim to the house and she can't sell it. Is that true?
Well, that depends. Did he own that house before the marriage?
Right.
It sounds like he owned it before they got married.
He may have, but if she paid the mortgage for 9 years...
If she paid the mortgage for 9 years, she has some claim in the house, and assuming she's still married.
Right.
Okay, she was married to him at the time of his death, so she's still the wife.
Right.
And she should have some interest in the house based up, but it's not like, if he owned it before they got married, it's not marital property, but her helping to pay the mortgage might be her claim that she can stake to a portion of the proceeds
right.
of the
She
house.
should be able to have some kind of a lien in place.
And also, she even though her name's not on the house, if he dies intestate and she's the wife, she should be inheriting whatever is his.
Right.
So
the problem is, I think maybe behind the scenes here, maybe they split.
Yeah, there's got to be something more to this.
Because otherwise, you're right. It's her property.
Who's going to tell her? No, it's not your property.
Right? Really? He's gone. It was just me and him.
Right. So it probably isn't just. You know, he and her, because it's probably, you know, where there's a will, there's relatives.
Right.
And so there's got to be something else going on there. But the typical scenario is if you die without a will, it goes to your wife,
first.
It goes to your heirs down,
Right.
and then if there's nothing sideways and nothing down, it goes up to your parents.
Right.
And this is why you don't want to die without a will.
Exactly.
Right.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. With over 122 million parts, you can make sure your number one ride or die stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
This is the plaintiff, Milo L. Domani. He says he and the defendant rented a room together, and to say they didn't get along would be an understatement. The defendant claimed he was a racist, which isn't true. He moved out. Now the guy won't pay him the fair share he owes him, so he's suing him here and now for the $517.13 he's due. This is the defendant, Ikenna. He says the plaintiff doesn't understand that his privilege prevents him from understanding where he's coming from. And that's the basis of their disagreements. He came to this country to go to school. There's no reason for this lawsuit, and he defiantly doesn't owe this guy money. He's accused of not getting along. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,000 for loss of security deposit and money for inconvenience.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that he and the defendant rented a room together. It was a bad idea because they did not get along at all, and the defendant owes the plaintiff money. But the defendant says they had a disagreement over race and privilege. He was forced to move out and owes nothing. It's the case of get a room, just not with me.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. El Domani, what happened here?
Well, basically, me and Ikenna were roommates that shared a two-bedroom, two-bathroom apartment, and we had it with a third roommate. And when me and my third apartment moved out, we moved out without Ikenna, and there was move-out costs that, when divided by 3, were $355 and $13.
What were the move-out costs for?
They were for carpet replacement, they were for repainting the walls, and they were for cleaning, and there was final utilities.
Okay. And did you and the other roommate move together somewhere?
Yes, we moved to a different complex in the apartment complex.
You moved to a different apartment in the same apartment complex?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about the discussion with Mr. Ikenna about, you know, like, hey, we're not going to live with you anymore, or the lease is up and we're getting our own place. How did that work out?
I just sent him a message saying that we were going to be moving out.
Okay. And was there a problem between you guys or not really?
When it came to the moving out...
No, before the moving out that made you say, I don't want to live with... First of all, were you sharing a room with him?
Yes.
Okay. And did you two get along?
No.
Okay. Did you ever get along?
In the very beginning, which is when I first met him.
Did you know him before you decided to share a room with him?
No, we had met through our school's housing website.
Okay. So, and what school are we talking about?
The Film Academy.
All right. So you move him in, and why don't you get along?
Because we had problems communicating.
Okay.
And we just didn't see eye to eye on most topics.
All right. Well, you don't have to. All right. And then, so you tell him you're moving out, and what happens? He says, okay, no problem?
Yeah, mostly along that line. I don't think there was a...
So when does the building tell you you owe XYZ in damages?
After we move out.
All right.
So
and do you have anything from the building that says what that amounts, what that was for?
Yes, we have ledgers, and they've posted them on the statements on the website for the payments.
Carpet replacement, cleaning, and painting.
Mm-hmm. Well, there were the final utilities that we were charged. I sent a message to him saying that he owes rent for the September month, which was for him $494.98, and the utilities, which were separate.
Did he pay his rent?
He did not pay his full rent.
What did he pay?
Part of it. He paid $288.70.
Says who?
Okay, I've sent over the ledger previously.
Okay, hold on one second. Is this the document you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. Is that his payment? It's the $288.70?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Aquina, you're being sued because you didn't pay the rest of that, and according to the building and the plaintiff, you didn't pay your full rent either for September. So let me hear from you. Why don't you owe this money?
Move-out costs, I received a text message from my former roommate sometime in the end of September to the effect that we had a move-out cost to pay. To this, I replied him, please don't make any payments on my behalf. I intend to challenge this. Because I already have a peculiar issue with the apartment complex itself. So like he said, we used to be roommates, no love lost. He tried to push me out of the apartment. I wasn't budging. It resulted in the two of us having to move out of that apartment. So he got another apartment in the same apartment complex.
What do you mean by he tried to push you out of the apartment?
He sent me this worded text as to the effect of how he knows my OPT was coming to an end and how it would
What's OPT?
That's like the 1-year training we have after school to work in our field.
What's your field?
So film. So film and media production. So he sends me this message to the effect that, oh, my OPT is going to be ending, that it would be nice for me to find a temporary place to stay. To this, I didn't reply. I just went straight to the leasing office and signed to renew the lease.
Signed to renew which lease?
The lease for that apartment.
Wait. So you signed to renew the lease for that apartment. And is that where you're living right now?
No.
Okay.
No. So I signed to renew the lease for that apartment. So apparently the apartment complex doesn't have a problem with me staying for a year, but he did. I knew it was passive aggressive, but I didn't mind. I signed the lease. He sends me a text message saying
what do you think was the reason that he didn't like you?
It started after an altercation we had, and I wouldn't even call it an altercation. It was just a discussion, and we're talking about, I think we're sharing stories, because I considered him cool before this. We're sharing stories. He made this statement where he said, oh, I lie for fun. I just lie. In my mind, I'm like, okay. I didn't even see too much to it. We forgot about that. We kept talking, and it was a very big difference in communication and understanding. And I was like, I understand what you're saying, but all I can see is that your privilege won't let you get where I'm coming from. Your Honor,
What were you guys discussing that you felt the need to say that?
It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't even racially motivated, to be honest, at this point. I was just saying, I feel like your privilege doesn't allow you to understand where I'm coming from. Now, the thing with this was, after this conversation we had, he didn't talk to me no more.
Oh, there's a surprise. When you say that to somebody, I'm imagining, well, what did he say that would cause you to say that because of the color of his skin, he doesn't understand you? Well, that's sort of, but usually I will remember, listen, I will remember when someone says something that offends me, I remember it. So I'm trying to figure out what he said that offended you, but you don't remember.
Well, Your Honor, I wasn't offended, and that's the thing. I actually wasn't offended. It wasn't an offensive statement. It was just me stating that, oh, we see these two things differently, and that is that. And he was like, you know what, I understand what you're saying. We're just going to stop having this conversation right now. And that was it. After that day, the vibe was different. He stopped talking to me.
Okay.
He did a lot of petty things like, taking out his taking out the bath mat, little things that were supposed to get a rise out of me, but Your Honor, to be honest, no reaction out of me. I never said anything. I just continued to coexist because I can do that. I can live in a space with you for as long as possible. We continue to do that. That was when he tried to push me out of the apartment with this text message and I renewed the lease. He comes back and says, that he and my other roommate, who I'm cool with, are going to be moving out and that I should figure out what I'm going to be doing. At this point in time, I'm cool. I also reached out to the apartment complex to get a new apartment now because since he wasn't on that list, it was voided.
Okay, that's what I'm not getting. So he says they're leaving. You go and you sign for another year, which would take you all the way You do or you don't?
I went to sign that lease, the lease to 207.
Right. Did you sign a lease to 207? That would take you from September of 2021 to September of 2022.
It was supposed to. But then what happens is because he goes to meet them to cancel that lease now, saying that he wasn't going to be living with me anymore.
Wait, he's not canceling anything. He didn't sign it.
I mean, when he didn't sign it, it was voided. That lease was voided in itself. Okay. So
well, you're very lucky if they decided to void it for you. You're very lucky because you signed a lease to rent it yourself. That's what you did.
Okay.
Right?
No. But I'm getting
Am I right?
to it. So yes, you're right.
Okay.
So
all right.
It was voided. So what I do now is I'm trying to get another apartment in this complex. So I applied for another apartment in this same complex.
And
I did. I was approved. I and like 2 other people were supposed to be roommates. It was approved. A couple of days before we moved into the apartment, one of my prospective roommates said that they couldn't afford to live in that apartment complex, so she couldn't do that anymore.
Had the three of you signed a lease?
We had already signed this.
Okay, dude, do you guys understand that there's an effect for signing a lease? So you're in a dispute with them about $800, and the $800 was what? The security deposit on that apartment?
Yes.
So if you signed the lease, that's why they're not giving you your $800 back. But before you guys work that out, you decide, do you end up in the same building but in yet another apartment?
Now I'm in a different apartment complex, not with
Totally, a different apartment complex. So you're in a war with them about your $800, and he says, hey, they're charging us X, and he's still living in the building, but you said so long to the building, so you don't want to pay what you and the plaintiff and the other roommate have been deemed to owe the building. You don't care because you're at war with the building because you want your $800 back, and he cares because he's living in the building. Do you, Mr. El-Dumani, have any paperwork or any pictures that the building may have given you that shows that the carpeting had to be replaced and all that kind of stuff?
No, they don't send me any pictures of it that it had to be replaced.
Okay. See, you're in court saying, I had to pay this money for him. For me to say, you know what, you're right, he owes you that money, I have to find that the money is owed, right? Because you could choose to pay it because you want to stay in their good graces, but that doesn't mean he's liable for it. So I have to see the damages and say, I agree. So let's put a pin in that for one moment. And Mr. Aquina, show me what you paid for rent for the month of September. Show me the proof that you paid what is your full rent, by the way?
About $650.
Okay, I'm not seeing a payment for $615. I'm seeing a payment for $288.70.
Your Honor, we paid through the portal.
Oh, good. So take a second and look through the portal and try to show me that you paid that rent. Because I want to reach the right conclusion in this case. Okay, I don't want you to be out money if you're entitled to it, and I don't want the defendant, Mr. Aquina, to be out money if he's entitled to it. So what I want you two to do is I want you, Mr. El-Dumani, to ask the building to show you the proof that substantiates the charges. And I'm going to give you think 2 weeks is enough for you to do that?
Yeah. More than enough, yeah.
That should be enough. So I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, yeah, that carpet needed replacing. Yeah, the walls needed painting or whatever it is. All right, that's one. 2, Mr. Aquina, I'm going to give you a chance to figure out and prove to me how much rent you paid in September.
Yes, it is very possible, and I'm going to check to make sure, but it is very possible I paid $298 for that.
You either owe the money or you don't, and I'm going to find that out based on what I get from the building, okay? And if you're able to find that you paid more rent, but it sounds like you're succumbing to that already now. That's going to be my verdict. Now, you have a counterclaim for $1,000 because you lost an $800 security deposit. Like, why would that be his fault?
Okay, so I was saying, since he was acting on behalf of the apartment complex, right?
No, he's not. He's not acting on behalf of he's acting on behalf of his pocket. So that's between you and the building. And by the way, you're going to lose on that for the reasons I've already described to you. And money's for inconvenience. You can really forget that. So on your counterclaim, 0. And on your claim against him, I'm going to wait to see what it is that you are able to provide me from the building, and then I'll make my decision. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So it looks as though the plaintiff may prevail in this case if he can provide the proper information for the judge. The defendant had filed a countersuit for $1,000 against the plaintiff. He doesn't get that. So let's start with you, Mr. Ikenna. You don't win your countersuit, and you still may owe the plaintiff some money. How do you feel about it?
I think it could be worked out, because here's the thing. If he did make those payments and the apartment complex did threaten to evict him, he had every right to make the payment. If the judge rules in his favor, I'll be good with it.
All right. Mr. Eldamonte, let me ask you, can you prove what the judge needs, do you think? What's your answer? Okay. And you're happy where you're living now?
Very happy, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, here's an update. It turns out the plaintiff did submit the evidence and got $517 as a judgment. I will say, bring your evidence to court. There are some judges that will hold a case open like this, but sometimes the judge says you get one bite of the apple, and if you don't have the goods in court, you're going to lose.
I know you are liable if a dog bites someone. Are you liable if a large turtle bites someone when they are playing with it and annoying it? They could see it was getting agitated.
I don't know about you, but I can always tell when the turtle I'm annoying is just agitated enough to bite me, and that's when I back off.
I'm like, I pushed that turtle
one step too far. Exactly.
I hate when that happens.
I know. Well, you know what? Some turtles will bite. When I was a kid, I used to go fishing, and every now and then you'd encounter snapping turtles, like really big ones, and they'd take your finger off if they got a hold of it. So look out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there could be liability, wouldn't you say? I mean,
of course, yeah.
It'd be like anything else.
I mean, there could, you know.
Has the turtle bitten anyone before?
Right.
Do they get one free bite?
I think that, you know, when you're petting an undomesticated animal, you're taking certain risks as well.
Yeah.
So really, it's going to depend on the circumstances. Because even if it were a dog, if someone is poking and annoying at a dog and trying to agitate the dog, and they get bit, they got bit. The law is not ridiculous.
The common law, he had it coming.
He had it coming, right.
Kicks into play, right?
Yeah.